welcome back to One Praying Mama. If you're new here, I'm Lindsay. It's great to have you. Today I wanted to talk about comparison in our homeschools. I wanted to just encourage some other moms, especially newer to homeschooling moms, but really just any mom, because I know we all can struggle with this sometimes. This seems like a little bit more of a vulnerable video because I have to admit that I've struggled with comparing my homeschooling and everything to other moms, but I think that's just kind of the nature of the world that we live in. That's just kind of the nature as humans, with all this access to social media, YouTube, all those things. I think those can be wonderful tools, but we have to avoid comparing ourselves. The first area I feel it's important to not compare ourselves in our homeschools is don't compare yourself to the mom who's been homeschooling longer. It's important to remember that God brought you to homeschooling in His sovereign timing. And I mean, it might be because of the ages of your kids. Maybe you had kids that were going into kindergarten age, and that's when you started homeschooling. Well, you wouldn't have had kids any sooner. So just because another mom has been homeschooling for several years, it doesn't mean that she's more qualified than you. Yes, that's someone you can learn from, glean from, get wisdom from. But don't ever compare your homeschool and your homeschool journey to hers, especially somebody who has it a little bit more figured out. It's great to learn things from people, but part of homeschooling is figuring it out as you go. Everyone has to start their homeschooling journey somewhere, and even if you're a first-year homeschool mom or a second-year homeschool mom, you're every bit as much of a homeschool mom as the mom who's been doing it for a decade or more. God's going to equip you to homeschool your children in the age and the season that they're in as necessary. He might not give you the same gifts or the same wisdom in that season as the mom who's been homeschooling longer. We are all different people, different personalities, including our husbands, our kids. Everyone is different. We have unique families with a unique mix of needs in our families, with a unique mix of learning styles, and part of your homeschool journey is not going to be emulating the mom who's been doing this longer. It's going to be figuring out what it is that works for your kids. And part of the wisdom that we are given as homeschool moms comes from mistakes. As much as we want to do this job perfectly or our very best, we're going to make mistakes and we're going to learn. So like I said, you can glean from these women, maybe learn from some of their mistakes, but part of it is going to be figuring out as you go. So just don't look at the person who's so much further down the road, who's already done the hard work of figuring out what works for her family, and compare yourself to that. Because if God has called you to this, He will equip you for this, and you're doing a great job, I'm sure. If you care enough to put in the work to homeschool your kids, then I know that you care enough to do a great job as a homeschool mom. The second thing you shouldn't compare is compare your kids to other kids. Every kid is so unique. Every person is completely different. And God made each person that way. God made each child unique. They're going to grow up with different interests, different strengths and weaknesses. And it can be so tempting to look at another child, especially another child their age, and compare where our child is on level with another child, or even your own kids with each other. I have 3 kids that are all so different. Actually, I have 4 kids, but 3 that are homeschooling right now that are all so different, and they have different interests, they have different strengths, completely different personalities, completely different learning styles, completely different subjects that they like. And your homeschool is going to be learning each of your children and providing them with what they need, learning how to teach and interact with each child as their homeschool mom. And you've probably already done a lot of this as a parent. You parent each kid a little bit differently because they each respond differently to different forms of correction and discipline. They all probably have different needs as far as the way they feel love, the way they give love. As a mom, you're naturally looking for what your child needs, and don't set aside those instincts as a homeschooler and think that you have to do something the way another mom does for another child. Don't think that your children should be on the same level all of the time or right there at the same thing. They're not going to be maybe, as strong in some academic areas or different areas of life. And that's okay. That's normal. And that all goes into your homeschool journey too. Really, our kids are all called to different things in the future. We need people that are called to different things, different jobs, different ministries, different interests. And that's even evident right now. So it's really important to know your child, know what your child needs, and be led by the Holy Spirit for your child and not compare your kids. Well, the baby ended up waking up, so I'm going to try to finish this video out. She's playing with her brother and sisters right now, so well, hopefully this goes well. So the third area that you shouldn't compare is don't compare your homeschool to somebody else's homeschool. This could be your homeschooling style, your curriculum choices, your schedule, the flow of your day, anything. It could be the way your homeschool looks, like there's so much aesthetically pleasing things out there that your homeschool might just not look like that, and that's okay. As far as homeschooling styles go, we're all probably a mix of many styles or all of the styles or whatever. So don't get hung up on like, what's your homeschooling style? What is somebody else doing as their homeschooling style? And it might be something that you would love, but it might not be for your kids. Like Charlotte Mason, that might not be the style that is going to fit right into your home. I mean, there are a lot of people that follow a Charlotte Mason homeschooling style, but really Charlotte Mason was not a mother. It was still a school that she was homeschooling in. And yes, she has some great ideas. That's not to discount her or discredit her. I incorporate some of her ideas into our homeschool, and a lot of the curriculums that I'm drawn to are Charlotte Mason influenced. But aside from the Bible, there's no book or educational philosophy that is like mandatory that you follow to homeschool well. God gave us our own way of learning, of understanding things, of seeing things, and He gave each of our children their own unique gifts and personalities and ways of learning. So we really have to figure out what works for us and what works for our children, and it's likely not going to fit somebody else's learning style, philosophy, whatever. Sorry, we've got a rooster crowing out the window and the washer running, so I hope it's not too noisy, and the kids out the window. So it's kind of a nice day here, so we're trying to soak that up. And don't look at somebody else's homeschool and how beautiful their manipulatives might be, or their day might look, their home, anything. Don't look at their homeschool room. Again, those are great ideas. You can maybe pull some ideas that might really fit your family or might work for your family, but don't get on and just compare yourself to someone else and feel like your homeschool is not enough or not beautiful enough, that your kids aren't going to learn as well, that they're not going to have like the best childhood because you don't have all those things that they have. A lot of people are just trying to sell something, or some people might just like making beautiful videos and beautiful pictures, and there's nothing wrong with that, but don't feel that you have to measure up to that, because again, you're just seeing a small part of that. Okay, I've got to shut that window. So all of those YouTubers, social media people, those can be a great inspiration for you, but do not let it become like a comparison. And if you start to feel that you're not enough, that you're not measuring up because of that, like, shut it off. If I ever leave you feeling that you're not enough or something, turn me off. And on that note, it's okay if every homeschool mom out there isn't your style or your cup of tea and not somebody that you want to follow. Not everybody is for you, and that's fine. It's great to be challenged. I love listening to somebody that challenges me to do better if I'm struggling in an area and I really need to do better in that. Whether it's, being more disciplined about things and being consistent in my homeschool, that kind of thing. But there's a difference between being challenged and then just having unrealistic expectations of yourself. Is this something that's really going to make me better if I do this thing? Or is it just an unrealistic burden that is not necessary for my homeschool or for my life? You just use discernment to know when to take it and when to leave it. This is not going to be a cookie cutter journey. Like, we're not all on the same journey. God's not going to call you to be like somebody else, to homeschool like somebody else. He's not going to call you to do things exactly the way that another homeschool mom does them. He's not going to equip you with what you need to homeschool exactly the way that somebody else does. He's going to equip you for your journey, for your children, in the season that you are in. So I hope this encouraged you today. If it did, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Have a great day.